right, next up, familiar face, Eddie Leon from M.I.A. Beer Company. Come on up.
Morning.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
You know the deal. Your timer's right over here. Actually, we'll start at 4 o'clock. You're going to get that right. All right.
How you doing? I'm Eddie. I'm from M.I.A. Beer Company. I'm also an architect and a designer. And all of our packaging has been designed in-house. And what we try to do with this is, try to find our niche, or find our niche. Our design approach is to take something that's known and make it familiar. So obviously with this, this is a bit of a joke, this slide here. So anyway, Miami Vice, it's one of our flagships, and it's designed in a way where it kind of sells itself. It already tells a story just by looking at it. All right, so we're based in Miami, Florida, and obviously, the industry is becoming more and more competitive, so you have to obviously, find a way to stand out, find your niche. Being in Miami, it's a very unique city. We're obviously in the center of, between North America and South America. So, M.I.A. In Spanish, people say M.I.A, and when we started the brewery, to me, M.I.A, it was kind of annoying. I didn't want it to be called that. But I got to embrace it, because M.I.A in Spanish means mine. So I ran with that, and our tagline is Esta cerveza es mía, which means this beer is mine. So it's all about sort of reflecting our community, and our community is a bridge between, English speaking and Spanish speaking. Okay, so being in Miami, Miami is I don't know if you know, it's the cruise capital of the world. We're going to embark on a cruise next year during spring break. It's going to be a unique cruise. I think it's the first of its kind. The other interesting thing is that we're going to collaborate with a brewery in Havana. So when you arrive in Cuba, you'll get to do a brewery tour, plus taste our beer made in Havana. That'll be pretty unique. And obviously that's something that we can do because we're in Miami. So going back to our actual brewery, I wanted to just point out some fun facts here. If you notice our tap wall, we have 54 beers on tap, and out of those 54, it's a lot of beer. I know, earlier in the day there was talk about Rotation Nation. I think we're probably part of the culprits in that. So we make a lot of different beer. We've done about 160 different beer styles since we opened. These are my partners in crime, Kevin and Johan, watching us now, by the way. All right, so our approach since we started has been to obviously, inch wide, mile deep. We've been very focused on the Florida market. We've been local for local, and we do have a few flagships. The big one is Megamix, and actually that one is only 25% of our volume, which is kind of low. I've noticed a lot of the other breweries, typically their flagships are like 50% or so. Neon White IPA was one of the ones I was going to present, but it turns out I'm only going to do one, which is going to be Hard Water. And this is according to Laura Bell, this is our boozy LaCroix. So this is a low alcohol, it's a 5% alcohol, low calorie, 110 calories, low carb, sparkling hard water, and it's been doing phenomenal. We're very excited about this. When we go to the festivals, actually, it's the beverage that kicks the first before any other beer. So that's basically that's my pitch.
Fantastic. Well done. Do this. All right, a lot in there to discuss, but Darren, we'll start with you. What are your initial thoughts on M.I.A. Beer Company?
Well, I want to focus on the product here. I think it's going so fast in the hard, sparkling space now with Truly and a bunch of guys that are out there that have crazy distribution power that I feel like it's hard to win in this market. I think locally you'll see yourself winning, but then again, from an investor standpoint, will someone be interested in investing in this? The speed is pretty crazy, and it seems like it's replicatable. So that's just my initial thoughts there on just the product itself.
Yeah, Adam, you were nodding your head. Eddie talked about being local for local. What do you think about that approach, and what do you think about the seltzer?
Yeah, again, it's kind of like the past presentation. It's like I wrote down here, you're making 54 beers. Now you throw this into the mix too. I mean, and on a fairly small brewing system with some small capacity, it seems like you're trying to do a lot of stuff, and that's great that you're being creative, and that's part of your DNA. But I also look at, hey, your lead brand's only 25% of your business, right? I mean, it's not really like a flagship. So are you utilizing what your brand equity has by this giant portfolio? I don't know what the answer is, but that's my first perspective on it.
Yeah, Carmen, you're nodding your head as well. It's, in terms of brand equity, what do you think of what M.I.A. has?
I don't know. I'm struggling with this idea of innovation on whole. I think that there's a difference between disruption, which is really important, and distraction. And I worry that we're getting a little bit desperate as an industry and sort of grasping at things. So it was really good. I had it, and I would have drank a lot of it. And I'm thinking about, for my own company, what we do next and how we evolve. And this is a tough one because I think that innovation is important. I'm not sure that product innovation isn't necessarily the right thing to do.
Yeah, Johnny, your thoughts?
I'll speak specifically to the packaging, is that I think actually the packaging looks fantastic, but I didn't even realize
I
the
agree.
M.I.A. on there until you'd actually mentioned it. It's kind of hidden on there. But I'd question, it's the F&B's super on trend right now, but I'd question whether 32 ounces is the right package for the kind of customer that
And that's on premise, right? I mean, that's an on-premise play.
Yeah,
there.
the reason for the 16-ounce can, though, is because of the theme parks and stadiums in Florida. They require 16-ounce.
Okay.
So instead of competing head-on with the other brands at the 12-ounce,
Well, so you're serving it a 16-ounce can too?
that's
Is it 30?
yeah, it's 16-ounce.
Okay.
Not 32. That's
Yeah, it's
just,
32, yeah.
Yeah, the cans actually get released. I didn't mention it. They're being released next month. And to your point about volume, yeah, I mean we do experiment a lot, but we do have a partnership with Brewhub in Lakeland, Florida, so we can scale up to any size that we would like.
All right, Tom, what do you think about what you tasted in the overall presentation?
It's a mixed bag of fruit. What I'm really kind of interested in is the fact that it goes beyond beer. And so I think that in terms of like chasing some macro opportunity, there's maybe something there. When I see craft do things like NA or maybe low calorie or spiked water, that has some interest to me. But it's also a weird space and a slippery slope. And I think I would reiterate what everybody else said, and that's that maybe there's not enough focus. Just focus on what you do really well and really chase that down. The opportunities for innovation and other beverages. If your desire is to be the beverage leader, that's great. But if you're actually trying to be a craft brewery, maybe focus on just the beer component of it. But
All right.
overall, I thought the flavor was great. I was also geeking out on the process. I wanted to know if you were using flavors or if you were actually naturally infusing. That's where I was kind of interested in the product itself.
Okay.
Eddie, do you want to elaborate?
Okay. Yeah. We're using a flavor house for the flavors. They're natural flavors. It's a pretty simple process. The thing is, we make a lot of Berliners in our brewery, and the problem with those is that we use fresh fruits and they're not shelf stable. So a product like this needs to be something that lasts a little bit longer, or else you'll have exploding cans.
Don't want that. Eddie, great stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.